Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. It is Thursday. I am your humble host, one of your night hunting addiction enablers, Hans, here with my good buddy, Jason. I'm going to introduce you in just a second, Jason. But I want to start the show. If this is your first time watching, first time listening, thank you for joining us. This is the place where you find all the latest and greatest breaking news on all night vision and thermal optics. We talk about night hunting, hog hunting, predator hunting, coyote hunting, everything involved in that. Shoot, if you're just going out there and just chasing raccoons up trees with a night vision or thermal scope, we're here to talk about it. But thank you for joining us. Subscribe, like, share, all those fun things. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. You are going to remember, just like so many other events in history, you're going to remember where you were when you first heard today's podcast. It's going to be that revolutionary. 10 years from now, you're going to be like, you know what? I heard about that, and it was, on the Late Night Vision Show episode, whatever number. But with that being said, I may be overselling it, Jason, but this is a very, very big show. We say that every week, but this is a one of a kind. So with that being said, I've teased enough. Jason Robertson, owner of Outdoor Legacy. What's going on, man?
Man, that was
and I've got a used car that I'd like to sell
here.
you. It's
yeah, exactly, a used car. I was just sitting over here grinning and like I don't even know if he remembers that I'm here. And so I agree with everything you said, except the fact that you said that you were the humble host.
Well,
I don't know about that
my intros, it's my opportunity to have the platform, by myself however, because I've got to get my words in while I can, because once you get your stride, there is no getting you off. So,
not gonna lie about that. It's true.
So my
it's
intro,
once the motor gets cranked,
my intro is my chance to shine. So I'm passing the baton to you, and we're gonna be.
I'm fixing to take the baton, and I'm gonna run.
Let's go,
guys. We're going to jump into this. And here's why we're going to jump into this, because Hans is completely out of control. But here's the deal. This is possibly, I'm going to say this, and I don't know why. We haven't talked about this. Hans may be like cringing. Right. This is possibly the biggest show we've ever had. This is definitely the biggest review we've ever done in this show in 200 and something episodes. Okay. Mm-hmm. We have been doing this for years now. We have reviewed every top thermal scope that has come out in that time period. And today what we have is absolutely, without a doubt, without overstating it, a giant change in the industry, the biggest change that we have ever seen. I've been in this industry for almost 10 years, never seen anything like this, and it is here today. So I'm going to go ahead with, all this build up and tell you what we are reviewing. We have in our hands the InfiRay Outdoor, sold by iRay USA here in the States, the Rico RS75. Mm-hmm. This is a 1280 thermal resolution hunting optic. I'm just going to tease you real quick, and I'm going to hold this thing up. This is it. There will be more of that to come. Guys, this is it. A 1280, not just high resolution, super high resolution thermal scope has come to the market. Today is the day that everything changes, and we've got this thing. We've had it in the field. We have hunted with it, and we're here to review it today.
It's revolutionary. I don't want to use that word too much. But for those of you that are like, man, I'm just scraping up to buy, a $2,000 scope. This is good for the industry as a whole. 1280, any type of new technology. What it does, it produces more competition in the market. It pushes, I don't want to say pushes everything down, but it kind of does, because, now you have,
eventually it will.
Now you have the new ceiling, and the new ceiling is 1280. It used to be 640, but now it's 1280. So it's good for the industry as a whole. It's great for the market. It's great for the consumer. And we are, We are lucky, Jason, and we know that. I mean, we don't have to remind ourselves that. And people,
We're blessed, yeah.
we get to test this stuff well before it comes out on the market. Jason and I have had it. We've been testing it. The people over at iRay USA were generous enough to let us play with it and get a chance to hunt with it. I'm going to tell you, we had it in some nasty conditions. We've had a bunch of rain here in the last couple of weeks. You know, we didn't have rain for several months, and then the 2 weeks we had the scope, we got about 10 inches of rain. But we were thankful to have it, and we got some great video to show you. So we're going to be showing video. We're going to be doing specs, walk around, all the things that we want. We normally do. Sound like you want this.
Yeah, I want to jump in real quick. I'm going to let Hans, he's fixing to get into the specs. And I want to tell you, Hans was telling you kind of what we're going to do. Some people, this is going to be your first time ever watching this show, and we're going to get long-winded. That's what we do, and we're especially going to get long-winded on a scope like this because it is such a big deal. But I promise you, if you want to know about this scope, if you're really interested, then this is the show to watch. And I'm going to tell you, so kind of how this thing's going to lay out. In case you're new to the show, Hans is going to talk about the specs. I'm going to show this scope. We'll do a walk around. We'll talk about what's going to come in the box. We're going to do some general thoughts on what we think about it. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. We're going to nitpick this scope. That is what we do on this show when we do reviews. If there is anything that we don't like or we would like to see changed, we bring that up. You're not coming here just to see somebody say, yay, go buy this scope. We want to tell you what's good about it, what's bad about it. So we're going to go over all that. We will also get into who is this scope good for. There's some people, it's going to be perfect for us. Some people it may not. We're going to talk about the versatility of this scope. We do that on all of our reviews. And then one of the last things we're going to do, and this is probably where a lot of people are going to be interested. So that's why I'm really saying, I want you to stick around. We're going to talk about, is it worth the price tag? Is it worth, you haven't heard the price tag yet, so I want y'all to be sitting down for that, but is it worth it? And what does this mean? And so guys, we're fixing to jump into it. Hans is going to jump in with the specs. It's going to be a ride, and I think y'all are going to enjoy it. And I think you're going to learn some stuff about this.
So let's jump right into it, and we're going to start. I don't know if we already said it, but we'll say it again. This is the InfiRay Outdoor Rico RS75. So the price on it, the price is $17,999. Now, before you fall out of your chair, when we first heard about 1280 coming, the price tag that was thrown out was $25,000. So this, I hate to say that it is like a relief, but it's a lot. $17,999 sounds a lot better than $25,000. So price $17,999. What does that get you?
It's $18,000. Let's just say it's $18,000.
What does $18,000 get you? Well, I'm going to say it just like this, and for all you math nerds out there, you'll like this. Jason's one of them, I will say. What you're getting for $18,000 is you're getting a 1280 resolution scope. So what does that mean by the numbers? That means that the pixel density of this optic, with it being 1280 by 1024 resolution, is a little over 1.3 million pixels. Now think about that. With a 640 resolution scope, a 640 by 480, which they typically are, you're going to have a little over 300,000 pixels. So 640 by 480, a little over 300,000 pixels. 1280 by 1024, that's 1.3 million pixels. That's a huge difference. Now, what we know is pixels, the more pixels, the better better the picture image, the sharper, the cleaner. Higher resolution equals better picture image. And you've got 1.3 million pixels versus a little over 300,000 with the next closest, I guess, higher end scope or higher resolution scope. That's a huge difference. That's what $18,000 buys you. Now you think, the scopes that we've had and talked about in the past have gone typically up into about the $10,000 range. This is quite a bit more pixels than that. And again, pixels, resolution equal picture quality. So anyway, with that being said, we're going to move on with the rest of the specs. So the resolution, like I said, 1280 by 1024. It is a 12 micron, 30 hertz refresh rate. It's got a minus 25 NETD sensor rating. The objective lens size on it, I know Jason showed it, 75 millimeter. It starts out on 2 power, and it's got a 6 times digital zoom. Now, this is probably, and we'll probably talk about this more in the who's it's good for, this is probably one of the most versatile scope for who might this be good for. So for all of you coyote hunters out there that like to shoot on 3 or 4 power, but you hate having a narrow field of view, think about this. At 1280 resolution, you're at 2x. You bump up to 4x, you're still at 640 resolution. So you can scan at 2 power in 1280, get a good wide field of view for coyotes or for hogs, and then to take a long shot. If you got a coyote that hangs up 200 or 300 yards away, you bump it up to 4 power, you're still at 640 12 micron level. I mean, it's amazing. The versatility of the scope is going to be a huge factor. The field of view, I've got my notes written down. It is 61 feet at 100 yards. Again, that's at the 2 power base. So 61 feet, that's a nice wide field of view. The detection range, they say 3,600 yards. That's right. 3,600. Yeah, I've never said that on this show before, that large of a detection range. Our ID range conservatively, 800 yards. I mean, we were looking at stuff. I was looking at calves well over 1,000 yards away, and I could see their tail swinging back and forth on a calf. So, I mean, 800 yards conservatively, which is,
I think that's a minimum.
And it's a mind-blowing number because, again, we've never said that type of range on this show before. No. It's got an OLED screen. The display resolution is 2,560 by 2,560. The display is very big. I mean, the clarity on the screen, really. I mean, the reticle. Sometimes some of the screens, on some optics, it's hard to see the reticle. If your eyes are not as great as they used to, you just can't get it big and bright enough. The display on this is beautiful. I mean, you can see every little detail in the reticles and the numbers across the screen. All that perfect. It does have 5 different color palettes: white hot, black hot, red hot, color, and highlight mode. 7 different reticles, 4 different reticle color options. It does mount on the mount that it comes with, and we'll be showing that in our walk around, does mount on any Picatinny rail, which that includes any AR style rifle or any bolt action rifle that has a one-piece Picatinny rail on it. It does have picture-in-picture display. It does come with the plug-and-play laser rangefinder, again, that comes in the box that we'll be talking about. Records video and audio, and man, the audio is much, much better than it's been in all the other InfiRay outdoor optics. I don't know if they put a new mic in it. I don't know what they did, but it sounds a lot better. So yeah, video and audio. We've got Wi-Fi with the InfiRay outdoor app. The app works flawlessly. The battery, it's a Rico battery, so it's a one-piece removable rechargeable battery, 6 to 8 hours or so. We might talk a little bit more about that as well, because it does come with a spare battery. Jason will show that. I'm throwing out all your walk around highlights. I'm kind of stealing your thunder there. The weight on it, we've got. It says on here 44 ounces, but we weighed it with the mount. The mount usually adds 3 to 4 ounces. So let's just say it's about 48 or 49 ounces is what we'll say on that.
What was mine? Was that what our number was?
I think it was 49. Yeah, I think it was 49. I didn't write it down for some reason. But anyway, it is an IP67 water rating. A lot of people call up and say, is it waterproof? And really what they want to know is not because they're going to throw it in a lake, is if I go out in the rain, is it going to mess it up? No. You take it out in the rain, it is not going to mess it up at all. Operating temperature -4 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. It is recoil rated for 300 Win Mag or 7 Mag. It'll handle the recoil of those calibers and anything under. And the last thing, man, I'm out of breath and need a drink. The last thing is 5-year warranty, the famous iRay 5-year warranty, one of the best in the industry. And man, that's what $18,000 buys you, but that's a lot. Just in the pixel density alone, Jason, 1.3 million versus a little over 300,000 pixels on the next closest scopes. So that's huge.
So it is huge. I'm going to say something real quick because when you were doing all that, I kind of,
You weren't paying attention.
like dazed off, and I was kind of asleep. But I did some quick math. I just want to throw this out here. This is because you said talking about math and me liking numbers. So I did find this interesting. Let's say that we take a 640 by 480 scope. That is, we multiply that. You have a total of 307,200 pixels. So if we take a really good $5,000 640 thermal scope, you're paying 1.6 cents per pixel for a $5,000 scope. If you go all the way up to some of the top of the line, $9,500 640 by 480, you're paying 3 cents per pixel. If we take this 1280 by 1024, as you said, it has 1,310,720 pixels, and those are costing you at this $18,000 price tag 1.4 cents. So it's actually a bargain.
It's the least expensive per pixel unit. There's the marketing campaign, that's Jason, right here.
There it is.
We're going to trademark it, but it is the least expensive thermal, high-end thermal scope.
That's right.
Per pixel. So awesome.
That's right.
That is definitely going to be stolen.
Hey,
that's going to be stolen,
guys. If that helps you justify this with your wife,
right?
Go for
right.
it.
What a deal.
I want to say one quick thing before I jump into this, guys. Listen, you may be one of these guys that's like, look, okay, I'm not going to watch this whole thing. I'm really, really interested. I've already heard the price, but I want to talk and know more about this. Hans and I are glad to help you. You can give us a call at Outdoor Legacy. Our number is 877-350-1818. This is what we do for a living. You can go to outdoorlegacygear.com. You can see this scope and all the other optics that we sell. We do sell a lot of stuff that's not $18,000. Okay, guys? So we've got everything you might be interested in, and anything you want to talk about. If you're looking to make a purchase, we would be glad to help you, give you advice, and then walk you through the purchase process.
Exactly. And watch us
do want to talk, but
and watch us talk for an hour about a $400 night vision scope, and we'll do it. We do it all day long. So.
We'll do it. So what? But just want to throw that out. If you're like, hey, I already know, I'm willing to spend the money, I'm really interested in this scope, feel free to give us a call. 877-350-1818. All right, guys, I am fixing to show you the big, giant, hard case that this scope comes in. It is a very, very nice case, but it's going to take up this whole screen. I'm going to try to, not move my mic too far back. Oh my gosh, it's huge. All right, you see it? It's just a big, hard, locking case. All right, let me get this back out of the way. You've seen plastic hard side cases before. All right, it is a nice one, as it should be. Open this up, and this is going to be quick and easy. So here's what you're going to get in the box. You are, and I'm having to turn away here. You're going to get a USB charging cradle for your batteries. We'll show you the battery in just a minute. You got the USB cable to plug it in. Simple enough. Here is a spare battery. Okay, this is the Rico battery that they all use, including the RS75. So you have a spare. There is another battery that is already in the unit itself. So you will have two batteries. Then moving along over here, it's going to be very simple. You get some of these little, let's see if I can show them, these little, they're heating like patches or whatever. You open them up cool. And they heat up. InfiRay started putting these in here, and they're really cool. You can use them as bullseyes. It's kind of like a hand warmer type thing. A lot of guys use those, but these are a lot smaller, so it's really cool. You can stick that on your target. So anyway, just something that they throw in the box. And then if I can get this out of here, you've also got the laser rangefinder. This is a modular laser rangefinder. What that means is that you can use this Picatinny rail adapter right here, clip it onto the left side of the scope, plug in the USB cable, and this laser rangefinder will integrate into the scope, meaning that you have to enable it in the menu, but then you can laser rangefind right there on your screen, get a readout on your screen. It's not like it's a separate unit sitting over here you got to look at to get the readout. It integrates into the software of the scope. So again, that's very simple, no big deal here. I'm going to get this off my desk and out of the way. So the takeaway there is that you're going to get a spare battery, you're going to get a charger, and you're going to get a laser rangefinder. That's the big deal that's in the box. Now, what everybody wants to see is this unit right here. I know it's a little hard to see with me sitting right here. We're going to do a quick walk around, and we're going to talk about this unit and kind of what it is and what's going on. So we'll just start right here. We do have, a normal rubber eye cup on the unit, nothing special or fancy there. Moving forward, we have the diopter focus. This is the focus for the eyepiece. So this focuses the screen to your eye. And, where your eye may be different than my eye, you may wear glasses, but you get that focus and locked in, you shouldn't have to mess with that anymore. Moving along right here, hopefully you can see this is the battery. It's just like the one that I showed there in the box. It's, obviously slides into the housing and locks in. Moving on forward here, we've got the front focus ring. You can see right here, there is this little lever that allows you to kind of grab that and turn it. It is a very smooth focus. It does not require a whole lot of force. I would say it's probably perfect. You're not going to bump it and knock it out of focus, but it moves very smoothly. Then moving forward, obviously this is the lens. It is a 75 millimeter. We'll talk a little more about that. It's not near as big as I thought it was going to be. This whole scope is not as big or heavy or bulky as I thought it would be. I do like this lens cap. This is a metal lens cap. I'm assuming aluminum or some kind of, you can hear it here, aluminum. It is magnetic, so it locks right back. I really like this lens cap. This is not the kind of lens cap that you're going to get out there that's plastic and it's going to fall off and you're going to lose it. I mean, I don't know how you would get this thing off. I don't advise taking it off, but really, really like the lens cap just because, again, heavy duty for a heavy duty scope. Moving forward on the other side, you can hopefully see it. I know it's not great. This is a Picatinny rail. That is where you will attach the laser rangefinder optionally if you decide to do so. Right here, this is a little dust cover, and this is for your USB port. That is where you will plug in the laser rangefinder. It's also, if for some reason you wanted to use an external USB battery pack, you could plug it in there. You cannot use a laser rangefinder and a battery pack at the same time. I doubt there will be very many people who are using USB external battery pack except in basically an emergency because of the battery life and the spare battery. So rolling the scope over to the top right here, if you're familiar at all with a Rico from iRay USA, you've already seen this. You go, I know what this scope is. These are the same buttons, the same layout. You've got your menu button right here. You can kind of see it as raised. So I really like that. Whenever I'm holding the unit, I can find that raised portion and I know where my finger is. It's kind of like your home button. I know where I'm at in these 4 buttons. 4 buttons are basically simple. This is your power button. If you want to manually calibrate or nuke it, you will press that as well. This is going to be your zoom button. Again, your menu button. And this is going to be your record button, so you can record your audio and video. Very last thing, I promise I'm almost done. We're going to move down here to the bottom, and you can see this mount. Now, I want to be clear. I've been told by iRay USA that this is a prototype mount. I think there's already been some changes in the design of this mount, and I think by the time this thing starts shipping, I'm thinking they're saying, Hans, tell me if I'm wrong, October, I think was the shipping date on these things, October 2022 this year. I think there may be a little bit of a change. This is going to be the basic design, though. My understanding is it will remain a dual lever mount. Now, this is not an American Defense mount. That is something that has been offered on the other iRay Ricos. Right now, that will not be an option. I'm not saying that it won't be in the future, but I'm going to tell you what's going on here. This is a very, very nice, well-made mount, and here's what's happening. This is a I don't know the exact word for it, but it's basically a recoil absorbing mount. And what that means is right here, you can kind of see this is two pieces. There is a spring in here, a big heavy spring. So when this scope takes the recoil, that spring will absorb part of that recoil. And the reason is it's got to have that absorbing function to protect this 1280 thermal sensor. Okay, so what you cannot do is put any type of standard mount, again, the current American Defense mount that would fit on this for the Ricos. You can't put that on here because you can very possibly destroy the thermal sensor. So that's why it's got this mount. This is a very, very nice mount. It does return to zero. Again, they're making some changes to it. That is your basic walk around. I'm going to say something real quick before I'm done here. It's really hard to get a judge of the size of this. I'm holding it up and it's in front of me and it's awkward. And I got this microphone. This scope is not near as big as maybe it looks right here. This 75 millimeter lens is not obscene. It's not really as big as I thought. Even on the weight, I think you're right on that weight. I got to remembering when I weighed this, Hans, I think it was 3 pounds, 3 ounces with the mount, if I'm not mistaken. And that falls, I think that's right. And that falls in with your ounces there total. Yeah, it's big. But it's heavy, I guess. I don't know. It's not something that I've really, I don't hate it. It's not like it's this giant albatross. How about that?
So there's going to be people out there like, oh man, that 75 millimeter, that's way too big. Well, for those people that say that, either you have a short memory or you just weren't really into hunting back when the
thermal hunting.
Yeah, back in the Armasight Zeus days when it was 75 millimeter or 100 millimeter objective lens. I had the RS75 mounted on a 12-inch 6.5 Grendel, an American Defense Manufacturing AR 15 pistol. Yep. And carrying around the woods, carried it, for many, many nights. And it wasn't that big of a deal, y'all. I mean, it really wasn't. But most people, that are getting something that, like, I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people that are buying this are going to be putting it on a long range shooting rifle. And those things aren't light anyway. Those are, big old heavy long rifles. And, adding something like this, they're either shooting out of a blind or shooting on tripods. A lot of them are, or shooting from a bench. It's really not that big of a deal. And the pictures of it on the rifles look really, really good.
Yep. Guys, this is legit. Okay. This is the real deal. This is not a gimmick. This is not hype. This is not, okay, yeah, but is it really any good? It is. This is the real deal. I mean, this is what we've been waiting on. Back on, oh gosh, episode, I don't know if I wrote down 203 of this podcast was back early in 2022. We did a show, just kind of a fun show talking about what will thermals look like in 5 years. And one of our predictions on that show, or maybe not predictions, but things we were kind of, guessing and talking about and hoping for, was that we would see a 1280 high resolution thermal sensor scope by, that would be 2027. And we had no idea that 6-8 months later, we would have that scope in our hands. As Hans mentioned early on, we knew that there was this scope had, been in the works of the possibilities of, again, we didn't know it was being produced or when it might ever come, but we knew that it was being spitballed around. And again, we were hearing prices of 25,000, 28,000. I mean, we were hearing stupid high prices. And again, I'm not saying that $17,999 is cheap, but when we heard this price, we're like, oh my gosh, this is way better than what we thought. Yeah. We thought it could be twice that. So this is exciting technology that really does offer something. And we're going to get into kind of the versatility of this. and I guess we can do that now. This is not just offering amazing image quality, which it is. By being a 2-power scope, 2-power base magnification, so you do have this amazing big field of view, ridiculous image quality. And Hans kind of brought this up, but I'm going to say it again. You zoom this scope up digitally one time, you go to 4 power. You still have a 640 by 480 high resolution 4 power optic. So Coyote Hunter, you got this. Hog Hunter, you got this. You zoom this thing again to 8 power, and you're still at a 320 resolution. I mean, it is ridiculous. You can zoom this thing all the way up through the magnification 2, 4, 8, 16, and to be honest with you, it could go higher than that. At 16 power, I can sit there and look at hogs swishing their tail at 200, 300, 400 yards, and you could shoot them. I mean, you're at the highest magnification, and it's not this grainy. Now, it's not perfect. I would never say that, but it is a very good image because you're starting out with 1280 by 1024 pixels.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, with everything that we've talked about, we run through the specs. We've done the walk around. We showed you what's in the box. I think it's important, and we talked about the versatility as well, but I think it's important when we're going through the likes and the dislikes that you kind of take this with a little bit of grain of salt, because we are here to nitpick. We're here to find something wrong with this optic. We may be the biggest fan, and there's a lot of optics that we talk about that we're huge fans of, and we kind of have to kind of hold our excitement down. It's really hard to do it with something that's as revolutionary as this optic is. And it's kind of tongue-in-cheek in the beginning, and me saying, you're going to remember where you were when you heard this episode and where you heard, or saw the first 1280. You've gotten to see a bunch of video with it, throughout this video. If you're not watching on YouTube, if you're just listening to the audio-only version, pull your car off the road right now, get on YouTube and watch it, because you've got to see the videos thing. You've got to see it to believe it. And like anything else, Jason, as we always know, and it's not a cop-out because it's the truth, the videos don't do it justice. What you see on the internet, they are compressed videos that are being rendered several times, or being, sent over, different platforms, and then uploaded to the internet. The video quality is getting degraded every time you do that. I mean, what you actually see through the scope, I remember calling you, and when I first turned it on, it's like, this is unbelievable. I mean, it just, the detail in the foreground, the detail in the background, it is, it's almost like seeing thermal for the very first time. It's like when I remember the first time I looked through a thermal scope, and I was like, this is amazing technology. That's the same feeling I got when I looked through the 1280 scope. And I don't want to be way overboard on our positivity on this moment, but we've waited a long time for it, but it actually came a lot earlier than we thought it would. So
it is, yeah. And so, well, I'll tell you what, I've got some thoughts I want to talk about after this, but let's go into the pros and the cons of this unit. So I think the pros, I don't know what that is, but the pros are going to be really easy. Because there's a lot of them. The cons, I'm not going to lie to you, they're pretty minor, but I'm just going to run down a few of these things real quick. I know we already talked about this, so we're just beating this dead horse. There's going to be people say that it's heavy. I get that. I'm sorry that you cannot put the world's largest sensor in a thermal scope and make it something that fits in the palm of your hand. Maybe one day. That may be where we're going in another 10, 15 years, but right now it's not going to happen. So,
right.
Obviously, yeah, I guess if you gave me the magic wand that Hans and I wish we had, that we could wave over scopes and change things, yeah, okay, I might make it a little lighter. I know people are going to bring up the fact of this mount, that it is large. They're going to bring up the fact that it's not an American Defense mount, which, again, we're huge fans of on this show. But I will say, again, you've got to trust the manufacturer of this scope. I am touching, holding, feeling. This is a high-end, very nice machined mount. We've got to trust them that they need a mount that is recoil absorbing. Again, I'm not saying there won't be an aftermarket American Defense mount down the road. I don't know, but this mount is fine. It's working. We're having no issues whatsoever with it. One thing, this is going to come up. I was very concerned when I heard this. This unit is a 30 hertz refresh rate. In modern thermals, and I say modern, meaning the last probably 4 or 5 years, we've gotten away from 30 hertz refresh rates. Everything, all these sensors now are 50 or 60 hertz. And so 30 hertz is kind of going back in time. And I was very concerned because there was times on some of the 30 hertz, not all, some, you could see when you moved around, there would be some lag. Guys, I'll be completely honest, and I will say this for a fact. If you'd have told me this was a 50 or 60 hertz unit, I would have never known the difference. I'd have never doubted it. Running animals, no problem. There's no lag in moving it side to side. Guys, it's fine. No issue. Would I like it to be 60? I guess because it would sound better on paper. Sure. But I know that's going to get brought up. I just personally see it as a non-issue. I saw no problems whatsoever. If you're hunting out of a helicopter, then yeah, I think that would be a problem. I'm being serious. That's where you start seeing those issues is a helicopter, or if you were on, I don't know, maybe on a top mount and literally looking sideways as you're moving, at 50 miles an hour, something like that could be an issue. But any normal hunting conditions, I don't think so. Very last thing I want to bring up, and this really isn't a con, it's just kind of more of a fact. Hans mentioned early on we had this thing for several weeks, but in terrible rain conditions. Kind of towards the end here where I've had it, the conditions have been a little bit better. So I've gotten some really good time behind it. When I say good conditions, they're good conditions for August and September, okay, in Texas. It's still hot. It's still humid, especially after having all this rain, but it looks amazing. When you get this thing out, and we have the chance this fall and this winter when it's 30, 40 degrees and the humidity is a little bit lower, I think it's going to be unreal. Yeah. This is the worst possible time to have it. But I want to mention this. The question is going to come up. So what does an $18,000 1280 thermal scope look like in bad conditions? And I'm going to tell you exactly what it looks like. It looks like a bad thermal scope in bad conditions. Listen, the iRay sensors are good. They're known to be good in higher humidity and bad conditions. Right. This is no exception to that. None whatsoever. But if you get out there and it's been raining all day or all night, or it's raining, and all your other scopes look bad, this is going to look bad. I just want to be clear. It's going to look bad with 1 million pixels. What I don't want you to believe is that this is some, this is the smoking gun that we've figured all this out. Now we know how to go out in the worst possible conditions known to thermal, and it still looks like $1 million. It doesn't, but it looks like in good conditions, which you haven't seen it in great conditions. In good conditions, it's amazing. In fair conditions, it's really, really good. And in what would normally be kind of poor conditions, it's still good. It's fine.
Yeah, that's the challenge. You're not going to get around that with thermal and humidity and moisture in air. It's just the
not yet.
Not
anyway.
yet. Well, for 1280, you would figure you could see through walls or something with it, but it does pretty well. I say even in bad weather, it does well. Unbelievable in good conditions. Now. So the likes, Jason, there's probably about as long as your arm. I'll start out. I don't want the obvious things that we've already talked about, picture image and that kind of stuff. It is what it is there. We've kind of hit that and done. Right. I want to talk about, the versatility of it, the 2 power, the 4 power, you're getting 1280 resolution at 2 power. So it really is good for just about anybody. I can't see a situation that it wouldn't really be good for unless you're wanting to buy a thermal just to look in your front yard, for intruders. Probably that's a little bit overkill. but the versatility of it being able to, shoot hogs or scan for coyotes or shoot coyotes up close to take long shots at 4 power and still have 640 resolution, that is going to be the biggest draw to this. And really, we talk about it on other shows of being like, yeah, this scope is typically going to be good for coyote hunters, or this scope's typically going to be for your hog hunter. This is good for anybody, any type of hunting you're doing. Deer hunting, and there's a lot of guys like, well, deer hunting. Well, yeah, there's some places you can use thermal at night and hunt deer if you have special depredation permits and stuff like that. And there are people around the country that do hunt deer at night because of a problem or a nuisance. Deer hunting at night, shooting a deer at 300 yards or 400 yards if you need to. There's a lot of uses for this. But I think the versatility, aside from Jason, the obvious as far as picture image being the biggest pro, I think the versatility is my second favorite of this scope.
I agree. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to kind of, when we're done with this in a minute, I'm going to make some even bolder comments. But I will say this is the most versatile thermal scope ever made. Period. I don't think you can argue with that. It is the most versatile. I'm going to go over some of my pros, my likes here really quick because we've already hit on all these. Audio recording.
Great.
The reason that's a pro is because the past InfiRay products that do have recording, like the Ricos, it's very, very quiet. It's not good recording. This audio sounds fantastic. So, video, audio, boom. Really, really good. It's going to use the same InfiRay Outdoor app for streaming, for pulling those videos off. Fabulous. Love the app. Again, the battery life. We're looking, our test, my test that I did, bench test on this thing was around 7.5 hours. So I think realistically in the field, you're going to be looking at it, depending on your weather. If it's 10 degrees, it's going to bring that down. But normal conditions above 50 degrees, I think unless you're running the Wi-Fi and just recording nonstop, 6.5 hours minimum, I think it's going to be, very easily. You do have a spare battery. With those 2 batteries, you're going to hunt all night long. If you're in really cold weather and you're concerned about that, buy a 3rd battery. But you're still going to be out there for very, very, probably longer than you want to be out there. So I think that's the battery life's a big deal. Guys, it comes with a laser rangefinder. As it should. I will be the first to admit that. For this kind of money, you should get all the bells and the whistles, and you're getting that. So if you are the long range shooter, I've had a lot of guys that are long range daytime shooters, and they have been waiting for a long range thermal scope. And again, Hans and I are not long range shooters. We don't claim to be. We don't really want to be. But if you're into that and that's what you want to do, I think we have a scope that you can do that with. This scope is going to allow that. If you're going to be able to, figure out what your dope is, what your drop is, this scope's going to let you do that. Seems silly, but the lens cap, I do like that. It's a really nice lens cap. There's a lot of scopes out there that are really nice scopes and have a 50-cent lens cap. This is a nice metal lens cap. I don't think you're going to have any problems with that. ID range. Again, that kind of just goes back into what I was talking about for long range. There's not a scope on the market that will hold a candle to the ID range of the scope of what it will do. And the last thing, 5-year warranty with, with iRay USA's, basically 1 week turnaround time on a repair replace. That's a big deal. You can buy this scope and have confidence for this kind of money. You don't want to buy something and only have 2 or 3 years. You want to know you've got some time on this. And if you wanted to sell it down the road and maybe there's going to be a newer model in 3 years, you would still have 2 years of warranty selling this used to somebody. So I think that's another.
I got one more for you, one more pro, and I forgot to mention it earlier. Some thermals that you look through the display screen around the edges, sometimes it has a little bit of a blur to it. When you look in the middle of the display screen, very clear in most scopes, sharp. But as you start to look out towards the edges, it's blurred. This has edge-to-edge clarity, left to right, top to bottom. The display on this is a big positive, a big plus. And I think once you get it and you turn it on, you will notice it immediately. Just do this. When you get it, leave the objective lens cover on. So when you're looking through it, you're not seeing an image, and you're just seeing the screen. Look at the numbers. Look at the letters on the screen. Look at the reticle. Look at the edge-to-edge clarity. You will notice a difference in that display, and that's a big deal.
I agree. So listen, guys, I know we've gone long on this review, but it's like I said, we told you we were going to. It's a big review. So we've got a couple more things we want to talk about. And the first thing here is, who is it good for? I think we basically already said that. It's the most versatile scope. It's good for coyote hunters, hog hunters, armadillo hunters. I don't care what you're doing. If you've got the money for it, if it fits your budget, this is it. I mean, this scope is going to fit everybody. And I've never been able to say that before. Yeah. I mean, we have always said, scopes are tools, and these tools, they're made for certain things. They have strong points. They have weak points. I'm not saying that, somebody can't call up and have some scenario where 2-power is too much magnification for them, or, whatever. They can't go the other way. They can't say they need more magnification because this unit's got it. With the resolution it offers. So, yes, I'm sure there's somebody that we could find that it's not good for. But generally speaking, it's the first scope I could ever say it's probably good for everybody. I mean, for what it can do. I mean, I am primarily a hog hunter. I've been using this scope. I will be using the scope. I have no issues whatsoever. I mean, I love 2-power. So I will be using it shooting at 1280 resolution the majority of the time. Hans, he does a lot of coyote.
I'm a coyote hunter.
He hog hunts as well, but he is a coyote hunter. It's because he's killed all of his hogs. I'll just tell you all that. He may be an armadillo hunter in another year when he kills all the coyotes.
You better watch out.
Hans can use this scope. I mean, the guys in North Dakota that are wherever, or Kansas or Oklahoma on the plains, you can use the scope. So. Hans, I just kind of took that over, but I think it really is, I think, very, very versatile in that. I mean, do you agree? Anything I left out?
No, I definitely think that we hit on that. And I think people, just by doing the math, and I think you, again, broke it down per pixel, the price per pixel. You have turned the most expensive scope on the civilian market into the least expensive and most value for the money. Only one man in this business could do that, Jason. That's you. So congratulations.
Yeah, there's probably another used car salesman somewhere that could. But all right, guys, let's get to the big question. We're going to wrap it with this. And there's a lot of people who have probably clicked off by now and got bored or fell asleep or something. But this is really what they wanted to know. And the question is it worth the money? Is it worth $17,999? Hans, I'm going to give a couple thoughts. I'll let you give some thoughts on this. Here's the thing, guys. Is it worth it? Only you can answer that question, and that's not a cop-out. What I mean by that is this. If you're out hunting hogs at 150, 200 yards, if you're out hunting coyotes at 100 to 200, 300 yards, is this going to make you win every hog or coyote tournament? Is it going to attract hogs out there to stand out in front of you and coyotes to come running in? No. I mean, okay, are you going to kill any more with this scope inside of 200 or 300 yards than the current crop of $5,000 to $10,000, high resolution 640s? No, you're not. No different. And I always bring this back to pickup trucks. Guys know I'm going to do it because I always do, because we can relate. No different than that brand new truck, that whatever, limited King Ranch edition, heated and cooled leather seats, wood grain interiors, 3 backup cameras, 2 front, all of that stuff. It doesn't help you get better gas mileage. It doesn't help you get to work any sooner on Monday morning. It's luxury, and people pay for it. They want the best. They want that luxury. And that's what I think this scope is. No, nobody's going to be able to, we're joking here about the cost per pixel and whatever. You're not going to be able to justify this scope by saying, oh yeah, it's worth it. I'm going to kill so much more stuff. I mean, maybe if you need to shoot 500, 600, 700 yards, maybe, but just a few quick thoughts I would say on it. Again, we've already talked about, we thought this scope was going to be way over $20,000. So actually, I know it's $17,999. Still, it's ridiculous. I get that, but it is a lot cheaper than we thought that it would be. Something that y'all need to understand that I have been, a little bit privy to by talking to iRay USA is the actual cost of some of the components going into here. Guys, this 1280 sensor is ridiculously expensive. There is, as an example, I've been told that there is an American-made version sensor that the sensor's like $35,000-$40,000 for just the little chip. Okay, so there's this issue of what these components cost. I'm going to say this. It's really inside baseball. It's probably nobody's business, but we're all making way less money on this unit. Okay, everybody got their margins cut big time, and the reason is to try to get this price down here. Had we all made the same money that we make on other scopes, the price would be $25,000 or whatever. Because it would be.
Jason's making me clock out now when I go to the bathroom. That's how
exactly
things.
Right.
That's how lean things
good.
are around here.
It's getting lean. So again, I just want to make the comment that the price is better than we thought it would be. I'll say this: the law of diminishing returns. This is in effect in anything when we get to high end stuff. Okay. When you get into, and we can take this exact same scenario and back it down between a $5,000, 640 scope and an $8,000 or $9,000 640 scope. We can take this down between a $2,500 384 and a $3,500. There are diminishing returns on your value the higher that you go up. So that's just going to happen. And what I mean is, it doesn't mean that, this is not a big improvement. It's a huge improvement, but let's face it, it's a huge price increase. So that law is in effect. If you understand it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to say this last thing. This is tongue in cheek, but there's a little bit of truth to it. This scope is not going to be purchased by the average working guy. I get that. Okay. I really do. Hans and I are average working guys. We know, I know exactly, there's so many people looking at this, drooling and going, this is a Ferrari. I'll never own a Ferrari, but it's cool. I might put a poster of one in my man cave, but I'm never gonna own one. And I get that. Absolutely. There's no issue with that. There's no shame. There's no whatever. We can all look at something and drool and say, man, you know what? If I won the lottery, if I ever hit it big, I'll buy one of those. So, and this is my tongue in cheek a little bit, but if you have to ask the price, then it's probably too expensive. You're probably not going to buy it. I've had people tell me that, and sometimes it hurts. It's like, well, that's insulting. But it's kind of true. It's like, you know what? If the price bothers you that much, you probably can't afford it. You probably don't need it. It's not within your budget. And again, I know that sounds harsh, but it's a Ferrari. It's above a Rolex. This is a Ferrari, and a lot of people will never be able to afford that, and we get that. But here's why I'm bringing this back around, and I'm going to close on this point. This is why this is important, and Hans already kind of brought this up a little bit. If you have nothing but a, $2,000 budget or a $2,500 or anywhere in between, and you say, this is ridiculous, I'll never be able to afford this, this does me no good. It doesn't do you good today. It does you good long term. Because what's going to happen is, and I'll go ahead and say this, and we all know this scope in 5 years won't be $18,000. We all know that. That's technology. That's the way it goes. This will be cheaper, or there will be something newer or something better, and that's what technology does. $5,000 flat screen TVs existed and there's a lot of people bought them. I wasn't one of them, okay? But I was able 2 or 3 years ago to buy a 50-inch smart flat screen TV for $398. And that's because they started out at 5,000. Some people bought them, and then they came down to 3 and to 1,200, and you see what happens. And that's what's going to happen with this technology. This is what is going to allow eventually, not tomorrow, not next week, probably not next year, but over time, it trickles down. And as 1280 gets cheaper, 640 will get cheaper. And as 640 gets cheaper, 384 gets cheaper. And eventually, I'm not making predictions of what you're going to buy. You're going to buy 640 for, $1,500 one day. Maybe you will. I don't know. But this is how it happens. The top has to get better for the bottom to get better. So that is my 2 cents on it. Is it worth $18,000 to a lot of people? It might be worth it. It might just not be in the budget. But there are some guys that are going to say, I want the very best. I can afford it. It's within my budget, and I'm going to buy it. And for those guys, I think they're going to just eat it up.
So you talked about if you have to ask, then this may not be for you. That's like, your favorite.
I hope that doesn't come off
it's
me.
like,
I mean,
here,
that's,
I wanted to put that. I want to put
meaning
this in
that the way
perspective.
it's-
That's like Jason's, your favorite hip hop artist, going to the dealership. He's not going to ask how much that vehicle is he's about to buy. He's just going to write a check. It's kind of the same thing, right?
I don't have a hip hop artist, by the way, but
I'm
yes.
going to answer this question once and for all. Is this worth it? Is this scope worth $18,000? Yes, absolutely. 100%. 1.3 million pixels versus 300,000 pixels. So definitively, yes, it's worth it. But if you are interested in purchasing this brand new InfiRay Outdoor, the RS75, you can do so on the website, outdoorlegacygear.com at some point. We'll be getting some in. They may be there by the time of the show.
These are going to be a
Very limited supply.
These things aren't going to be sitting there.
And you can also call us. You can talk to me. You can talk to Jason, 877-350-1818. Call into the office. If you want to find out more information, like Jason said, we're going to be using this scope, hunting with it some more. We'll be coming out with more videos. I know at some point I'll be doing a review on my YouTube channel. So you can find me on YouTube at Hans ETX. That's HANS ETX. You can also find me on Instagram at Hans ETX. You can find Jason over on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram at Outdoor Legacy Gear. You can find all of our past episodes, y'all, at one convenient place, thelatenightVisionShow.com. It has all of our episodes there, so you can go back in the catalog and check those out. But please make sure that you subscribe on all platforms and leave some good comments. We really appreciate it. The show's growing like crazy, and it's because of great people like you that come here week after week for information and entertainment. So with that being said, Jason, close it out.
Yes. Hey, man, listen, guys, we really, really appreciate you watching. I know this has been a long show, but, a scope like this deserves it. A scope like, there'll be more of these. I don't know of any other manufacturers today that are working on them. They may be. I don't know it. It may be a year, 2 years, maybe 5 years. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow. But we will be excited when that happens as well, because then there's competition. Then it just gets even better. There's never going to be another first. Okay, this is the first. Now, the next one may do something that this one doesn't. But guys, I hope that you have seen the excitement that we have here, and it's real. This is our passion. This is what we do. Hans and I don't just sell thermal scopes like, some people, whatever they do, they sell it. We love it. We eat this stuff up. It's what we do. It's our hobby. It's our passion. We live and breathe this stuff. So we get excited when there's this kind of technology change. And anyway, this was, we hope you enjoyed the show. Hans already told you how to find all of our other episodes and keep coming back. Listen, guys, I'm going to say my last thing here. If you're still hanging on here and you're like, okay, that's great. It's a Ferrari. I'll never be able to buy it, whatever. Trust us. Come back. watch our past episodes. We've got something in your price range. If it's $500 night vision scope, we've got it for you. I do not want you to think that we're just some rich boys that do nothing but review these high-end, stupid, expensive scopes. Like Hans kind of said early on, you got a $500 night vision scope question, you're looking to buy one of those, call us. We're glad to help you anywhere in between. We want to get you out there hunting at night, enjoying it, and creating that passion that Hans and I have for what we do as well. So guys, between now and next Thursday, we hope to see you then, but y'all stay safe in the fields and keep making those bacon pancakes.